everyone, my name's Emma. Today we are talking about travel and how our experiences actually created. When it comes to choices and decisions, the ones that we make with more intention will help us create the world that we want to live in. So what we talk about here on this channel, how can we take our power back every single day by making more intentional choices and decisions? Travel, we've talked about it for a few weeks now, is created through many different experiences that we have and can be considered a great deal of things when it comes to travel. Travel does not just mean you got on a plane, you go to a new country, you don't know the language, and you're just walking around, meeting new people, experiencing new things. Travel can easily be having a conversation with someone, reading a book, watching a movie, watching a documentary, and you can travel the whole world through the different pieces of movement that you do every single day, and information is always at our fingertips. So how are experiences created? How do we choose to travel to different places? Now I'm going to talk a little bit more about actually going to different places in different countries. A great deal of the places that I've always wanted to go to were inspired by the books that I've read or the movies that I've watched. And that is very true when it comes to Harry Potter. I loved Harry Potter growing up, and I went to a local museum that had a Harry Potter exhibition when I was very young, and then I got to go to Universal Studios in Orlando and in California to go see the Harry Potter world. And then I got to, in October of 2019, go to Leavesden and actually experience where they filmed the movies. So I got to see the world of Harry Potter be recreated constantly all around me. And I got to create my own narrative of Harry Potter and how it influenced my life. And I have talked about it a few times. I'll link some of those videos here. But there was also New Orleans. I really loved the show The Vampire Diaries, and I loved the originals, and it was based out of New Orleans. And I was so excited by what the show was talking about, and I was like, I want to go there. And throughout college, I learned a great deal about New Orleans through different projects in school. So when I went to New Orleans, I got to experience so many different versions of the city because of all of the things that I had learned about it. It was this very important place of history that has happened and continues to happen there. So those are just a few of the reasons why I wanted to go to these places. I also went to Ireland when I went to London because I loved Oscar Wilde. I still adore his books and get so much value out of the works that he's done. So I wanted to go to Ireland and Dublin to see what inspired a great deal of his work. So I also went to Turkey because I took Turkish in high school and got to explore more of the language, and I got to see the sites, different versions of the country all around as I was traveling and going through. So a lot of the things that we watch and we read and we consume in our life actually influence the experiences that we have throughout life. If you like a certain type of genre, you're more likely to continue to read in that genre, or if you like certain types of movies or shows, you're probably going to continue to look at those types of movies or shows. If you're really interested in space, you might go to a space museum or watch space movies or a show that has to do with time travel or something like that. So a lot of the things that we are really interested in doing shape the experiences that we have, and then those experiences shape the ones that we have after that, which is why we need to continue to seek different perspectives, because we will get to learn more about ourselves every single time we do learn something that is outside of the usual things that we do. If you're not very up to date with some topic, maybe you could watch a video on it, and maybe you'll learn something in that video that'll spark your interest in something else. And this is how we continue to seek perspective and learn perspectives without going into this, oh, I have to do this to learn this to get to this point. It's much more fluid that way. I have a lot of different interests, so I'm always reading different types of books and watching different shows and movies, and I have different YouTubers that I watch that spark these different interests and joys that I have, and in all of them I get to learn more about the world and the experiences that other people get to have. And learning about somebody else's experiences get to become one of your own experiences, because then you're like, oh, maybe I want to have a similar experience and go to that place. Or be like, all right, I've learned that I probably wouldn't like to do this when I'm there, so maybe I'll try this instead, or something like that. So we can learn all the time from the conversations and the things that we're doing in our life. So if you're watching a movie or if you're watching a show and you see a place that they're going constantly or that they're talking about, it might interest you, and then you go and you look up the place, and then you're like, oh, maybe I'll go and travel there. Or it might do the exact opposite. You see something and you're like, I actually don't like that experience. I would want to have this one instead. And so this is how we're constantly making calculated judgments in our minds and in our lives. And a lot of it is done subconsciously. But when we bring it to the front level and we're like, all right, well, I liked this, I didn't like this, we're constantly collecting this data about our worlds, and we need to learn how to synthesize it and to do stuff with it and analyze it and really create something out of it, because that is our life's work. And all of these, if we give this knowledge the ability to give us a new perspective, it will make us a more resilient person and more understanding person of the world that we live in, and a more conscious global citizen. And of course, there is many difficult topics to talk about and to think about, and many people during this time have encouraged, well, just shut off the news, like you don't have to learn about what's going on. And the thing is that it might be easier in that moment to say, you know what, I don't want to learn about this, I don't want to see what's happening. And we should give ourselves a space to say, all right, I can't handle this right now, we'll come back to it another time. But to actually come back to it at another time and to learn about whatever it is that's going on in the world in a way that you can handle and that you can learn the most out of, because so much is going on in so many different facets and layers, and we can continue to learn without it being presented in just one specific way. We can learn about one topic in so many different ways. The way that we learn is so decentralized that you definitely don't just have to read a book to learn about something. If you're in school, I know when I was in college, I would, go to class and they would give us homework, but it would be a combination of talking with friends, talking to tutors, going online, watching other videos, looking on Wikipedia, what other equations are there. And so like me learning math suddenly went from just going to class to 6, 7, 8 different ways that I learned about math and the other subjects that I did in school. And there were so many different ways. There's books and there's even shows and movies, especially about like history. There's so many different ways to consume information now that we don't need to feel trapped into one specific way. And if we continue to seek the ways that are the best for us right now, we'll be exposed to even more ways that we can learn about knowledge and to import it into our lives. So continue to learn and to seek information in a variety of ways, whether it's reading an article or watching a video or talking to a friend or watching a movie, watching a show, watching news, watching reality shows, talk shows, watching comedy. There's so much that can be learned even watching a comedy show. A lot of the time, comedians reflect what is going on in the world, so that's a different way to learn about what's going on too. So never limit your experiences to one thing, especially since our minds work in such a decentralized way now. We don't need to stick to one method to learn everything. And if we do, it will be quite a boring way to learn about the world, and that's not what we want to do. We want to learn perspectives, but we want to do it in ways that help us grow and help us be excited about continuing to do that. There are so many difficult topics that we talk about here on this channel, but the way that we bring that information into our lives can be done through a combination of ways so that it's not draining, so that when you think of documentaries, it's not like, it's so difficult to watch them. You can watch documentaries on so many different things. I've watched documentaries on how makeup's created and, of course, like how climate change is happening, but also how many environmental activists there are in the world and how many people are working to create this change. So even in a certain genre of type of knowledge that can be created, like documentaries, there's so many different ones that you can watch. So you're never like, oh, documentaries are so difficult. You can watch a fun documentary as well. Just as long as we continue to seek this perspective about the world and to really engage with it in a way that is fun and that we want to learn more, not like this is a burden that we have to do now. That's what travel really is, and that's how our experiences are created in so many different ways. So I encourage you to check out some of these other videos, some of the other videos I'll post down below and different articles, but continue to seek knowledge in every form and to be accepting of it from wherever it does come. We can learn no matter what, and of course we should be enjoying at the same time. So I hope that you're choosing choices with more intention and making decisions that reflect the person that you want to be and the explorer of the world that you have always been. The choice is yours. It always has been. I hope you got something out of this video. I will see you soon. But until then, I hope you have an amazing day.